Typeless damage doesn't actually exist in Generation 2. Nope, this is not clickbait. There's actually no such thing as typeless damage in Pokemon Gold, Silver, and Crystal. In Pokemon, there are some attacks that do typeless damage. For example, Self-Inflicted Confusion, and starting in Generation 2, Struggle. Except Generation 2 is weird. When a move does typeless damage, what is actually happening is the game is skipping checking type effectiveness, same type attack bonus, type-based badge boosts, and weather. Everything else still applies, such as item boosts. Struggle, for example, is still a normal type move, and thus it is still physical, and it is still subjected to being boosted by the pink bow. Let's demonstrate this. A side note, for all of these demonstrations, I'm going to disable damage ranges and show you the highest possible roll in the video. Here's a level 17 Snorlax versus Falkner's Pidgeotto. Falkner's Pidgeotto has 16 defense and 32 HP. We have no badges, thus at level 17 with max stats, Snorlax has 58 attack. If you run the damage calcs, level 17, 58 attack with a 50 base power move will not one-hit KO Falkner's Pidgeotto, at least not by itself. The maximum possible roll is 31 damage, so it is impossible to get a one-hit KO without leveling up or getting a lucky critical hit. However, with the pink bow equipped, Struggle now has a 20% chance to get a one-hit KO. Another side note, if a Pokemon were to use Conversion 2 after being hit by Struggle, it will become a type that resists normal. Confusion damage is even more weird. Essentially, the game calculates confusion damage using your own attack and defense, but it doesn't overwrite the type of the last move you used when doing this damage calculation. So while it also doesn't factor in type effectiveness, if you try to use a fire type move, such as Ember, an item that boosts fire damage, such as Charcoal, will actually boost self-inflicted confusion damage if you try to use Ember and failed due to confusion. So let's bump our Snorlax's level to 20 and teach it a normal and fire move. We'll also equip the Charcoal item to boost the power of fire moves. We'll then set our Snorlax's HP to 13 and fight a level 28 Ghastly that only knows Confuse Ray. At level 20, we have 67 attack and 49 defense. If we do damage calcs, the best we can get is 12 damage. However, if we hit ourselves in confusion after selecting Fire Blast with a Charcoal equipped, we now do 13 damage. Fun fact, Confusion has no damage range and Explosion still has defense if you picked it. Confusion and Struggle aren't the only typeless attacks. There's also Future Sight, however, like Confusion and Struggle, that's not technically typeless either. Like Struggle, it's coded as a psychic type move, thus it does special damage, and it's boosted by Twisted Spoon. So let's get a Kadabra that knows Future Sight, and let's see how much damage it does against Falkner's Pidgeotto. Falkner's Pidgeotto has 15 special defense and 32 HP. At level 12, a Kadabra with maximum stats has 44 special attack. That means the best we can do is 30. However, if we equip the Twisted Spoon, our maximum damage is now 32, knocking out the Pidgeotto. What about the move Beat Up? Nope, it's actually boosted by Black Glasses. Let's take a level 90 Sneasel with Beat Up. While it has a special attack stat of 151, which is more than enough to defeat the Pidgeotto in one hit, this doesn't actually matter. This is because Beat Up is programmed to calculate using the base attack and defense stats rather than the current special attack and special defense stats. Pidgeotto has a base defense stat of 55, where Sneasel has a base attack stat of 95. Because Beat Up is base 10, the best we can do is only 15 damage. If we have two identical Sneasels, this means we can get only 30 damage in total. However, if we equip the Black Glasses on the lead Sneasel, our damage increases by 1 to 16, and since we attack twice, that's enough to defeat the Pidgeotto in one turn. So yeah, typeless damage doesn't actually exist in Generation 2. If you have to use Struggle in Gen 2 and you don't have leftovers yet, try equipping a pink bow for better damage ranges, or if you want to use the moves Beat Up or Future Sight, use Black Glasses or Twisted Spoon respectively, except when you get confused of course.